We got another SEO experiment on this episode of the show. This is actually a pretty cool experiment. It's called The Surprising Influence of Anchor Text on Page Titles. And I read it right before recording this and I said, that's cool. That's interesting. So I'm going to share that. And then I'm going to share some interesting observations on the weird behavior of Google's AI overviews. When you search something and you see the AI summary at the top of Google, that's an AI overview. And there is some strange behavior there that Lily Ray NYC on X has been sharing. And I love these things. I love these observations. And I love this experiment. So here we go. The surprising influence of anchor text on page titles. This comes from SEOsherpa.com/SEO-experiments. One of my favorite articles on the internet. 21 SEO experiments. Here we go. Okay. Optimizing your title tags has always been considered an important SEO activity, and rightly so. Numerous SEO studies have identified the title tag as a genuine ranking factor. It is one of the most important ranking factors. Some might say backlinks are more important, but you don't need backlinks if you have a strong page title that matches the keyword and it's not that competitive a keyword. Anyway, since it's also what normally gets shown in the search results when Google lists your website, spending time on crafting well-optimized title tags is a good use of time. But what if you don't bother? What if you don't even put up a title tag? What if you don't have a page title? A few years ago, Dijon SEO set out to test what factors Google considers when creating a document title when a title tag is not present. Dijon SEO tested several factors, including domain name, the header tag, and URLs, all of which did influence the document title shown in search results. What about anchor text? Could that influence the title shown? In a video, Matt Cutts, the previous head of web spam at Google, suggested it could. But wanting some real evidence, Dan Petrovic of Dijon SEO put it to the test in a follow-up experiment. His experiment involved several participants linking to a page on his website using the anchor text banana. So he had several participants in the experiment. They each had websites. They linked to the same page on Dan Petrovic's site, and they all use the anchor text banana to link to this page on Dan Petrovic's site. The page being linked to had the non-informative title, Untitled Document. So it was almost like Dan Petrovic had forgotten to set his title tag. The title was literally called Untitled Document, and all the anchor text pointing to it from external websites said banana. In fact, in Google Search Console, previously Google Webmaster Tools, Google pointed this out for being a non-informative title tag. And during the test, Dan Petrovic monitored a bunch of queries, and the result was when you searched his site for this specific page, Google wasn't calling it by the actual page name, which was Untitled Document. Google was calling it banana. Google was showing the page in Google search results as banana, even though the page title was Untitled Document. So the experiment finishes, the document title miraculously showed as banana. The test goes to prove that anchor text can influence the document title shown by Google in search results. Anchor text, by the way, it's just the text that goes over a link. So all these sites, they linked to this page with the anchor text banana. The text that you click on said banana. Now, does this mean that you should not write unique and compelling title tags for each page on your site? Absolutely not. And the thing is, the page title, and I will say this a lot, it's harder to control backlinks, but you can control your on-page search engine optimization. The page title is what the searcher is supposed to see when your page is shown in Google. And so if you have a page title that has a searcher's keyword at the beginning of that page title, there's a high likelihood that the searcher is going to click it. And then if the search intent matches, the searcher is going to stay and your page is going to do very well in Google. That's how Google works. I actually tweeted this yesterday, or I shared this on Threads, I shared it on X, and I shared it on YouTube posts, which is an excellent feature. YouTube posts, very impressed with it. And I said, instead of saying content is king for the last decade, SEOs should have been preaching search intent is God. Would have caused way less pain from the HCU and similar updates. Search intent is God. Think about what the searcher wants when the searchers land on your page, or what actually start even sooner. What does a searcher want? When the searcher clicks enter on their query, on their keyword in Google, what does the searcher actually want? Search intent is God. Let's go to AI Overviews. This is from Lily Ray NYC on X. She said, this just in, pages blocked by robots.txt are eligible to appear in AI Overviews with a snippet. Normally, when Google serves block pages in its search results, it shows no information available for this page in the description. But with AI Overviews, apparently Google shows a description. This site, and she's sharing a site, and it has 19 pages that are blocked with robots.txt that are still cited in AI Overviews, which begs the question, why is Google pulling in AI Overview citations from pages whose content it apparently can't or shouldn't crawl? Why is Google displaying snippets in AI Overviews from pages that are specifically blocked from being crawled? Is Google ignoring robots.txt for AI Overviews? And the robots.txt file, if you go to any website and at the end of it, you say /robots.txt file, that is the website's instructions on how web crawlers should deal with the site. So you can block web crawlers from crawling specific pages on your site or specific subfolders, whatever it is. Subdomains, you can block them. And this was my favorite response in the comments. The AI response isn't really built from the references. The AI response is created first, then they select some references that reasonably match the output. They state this in the documentation. That page, even though it's not crawled, it was still in Google's index. And so the AI mistakenly said the source for this was from this page. A lot of people assume AI overviews are straightforward or generative AI is straightforward, and it really is not. There's so many errors with it. Sometimes I think about what is happening with so many people learning false things by getting all of their answers with ChatGPT, myself included, because I use ChatGPT or Perplexity or Gemini. I use these tools all the time to ask top of funnel questions. For specific things that I think ChatGPT would get wrong, I will turn to Google and I will often double check on Google. But there's lots of things that are pretty meaningless. Like I'm traveling through Eastern Europe. There are all these crows in Eastern Europe. And so if I asked ChatGPT a bunch of questions about the behavior of crows, and I didn't care enough to double check on Google, and then I would follow up with ChatGPT and ask specific questions. And I wonder how much of what I was being told by ChatGPT was not true. I assume that these are pretty basic questions that I was asking so I could get answers, solid answers on them. But look, these tools have so many errors. It wasn't that long ago that Bing AI was telling people to put glue into their food recipes. These tools have lots of errors. And so something that I'm thinking about, that I think about more and more is like, especially younger people who they don't really know to double check. And they use these tools kind of like a crutch. And I just wonder how many people are being severely misinformed. I guess we'll see in the next couple of years. But AI overviews, the AI response isn't built from the references. The AI response is created first, then they select some references that reasonably match the output. And one more observation about AI overviews, again from Lily Ray NYC, seems like when a certain site is deemed as a good resource on the topic, that site might get 3 to 5 links within AI overviews. In this example, Goodreads has 5 different URLs cited in the response, including one currently blocked by robots.txt. The reason that this is interesting is because some previous research on AI overviews said Google is only using certain sites for AI overviews, and I don't think Goodreads was included in that. And so it could be that, and I wouldn't be surprised about this at all, that Google's sources for AI overviews are actually very, very, very wide. And I would bet that it's not too, since my sites are cited within ChatGPT, I don't think it is very hard to be included in Google's AI overviews. If I was to give instructions on how to do it, write in a neutral tone, don't sensationalize your writing, don't use superlatives. All these things are shown to increase the likelihood of being pulled into generative AI responses. Use specific keywords. Put the keywords in the top areas. Make sure your sitemap is in your robots.txt. This is specifically for generative AI that are not connected to Google Search Console or Bing Webmaster Tools. And those are the top things off the top of my head right now. Those are the top things that would have your site pulled up with generative AI. Anyway, some interesting research, interesting experiments on this episode of the show. We started with the surprising influence of anchor text on page titles. We moved to AI overviews, the new AI overviews showing pages blocked from the robots.txt, and then the positive news that AI overviews will deem a certain site a good resource and show a bunch of pages from that site. And this is episode 504 of my daily digital marketing podcast, The Edward Show, 504 days in a row. Thank you so much for watching. If you are watching on YouTube, thank you so much for listening. If you are listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I will talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.